Luton Town fans, congratulations, you made it to the Premier League, and we have our three teams that are coming up next season to the Premier League in Burnley, pretty decent side, possibly stand a chance of staying in the league. Sheffield United, pretty decent side, probably don't stand a chance to stay in the league, but let's see who gave Bournemouth a chance this season, should we say, who gave lots of teams a chance this season. And then finally, Luton, a side who played Kenilworth Road, and just a couple of seasons ago, although I say a couple, like quite a few seasons ago, but still, were not even in like league football. They were literally in non-league football and not struggling, but not enjoying it, should we say. Now, I've been to Kenilworth Road, and I would put it this way, it is not necessarily a Premier League ground, but I think the fact it's not one of these big, crazy mega stadiums is a good thing. The Premier League has always valued stadiums which have a little bit of character, having Fulham in the league, having other sides who've got a little bit of character around the stadium, possibly have a slightly unique experience. You have to go through people's back gardens to get into Kenilworth Road, for instance, or at least near people's back gardens to get into Kenilworth Road, is a piece of character that the Premier League needs. And possibly, even if it's only for one season, I will take it. Not only that, but Luton fans are a very unique breed, should we say. There is a reason I'm wearing this shirt, and I'm not calling them national. I'm not calling them national fan. I know some Luton fans. I know some of these guys. They're actually a lovely fan base when I went there. I've got pictures to prove it. But one of my close mates is a Luton fan, and you just love the vibes. They seem like things are kind of, I don't know, there's a fairy tale element, at least, should we say, to what Luton is doing. They finished, they finished, I think it was 6th last season. The year before they finished 12th. The year before that, they finished 19th. And the year before that was a promotion, obviously. So things have not always been, on an exact up, because there were times they got stuck in the league where they kind of finished, went down a little bit, then came back up, and but the graph goes broadly up, and then they've slowly built. Now, the only thing that worries me is obviously 19th in the Championship is just staying in the league by the skin of your teeth. You could do the same in the Premier League, but there is quite a jump between the Championship and the Premier League. A, in terms of quality, B, in terms of fitness, and C, in terms of cash. Now, you've seen Forest come up, spend a huge amount of money, turn a huge amount of the squad over, and, congratulations, you stayed in the league. Steve Cooper, you're a fantastic manager. I think there is a project going on there and an element of belief. Is there something similar at Luton? Is this kind of an RB Leipzig type situation where they will spend to stay in the league, and will they go down a similar route to what Forest went down? Will they completely gut the squad, get 23 or 26 or whatever it was new players, and basically go, yeah, we're staying? Because, getting Premier League quality is difficult at the moment. Though they probably could get someone from Southampton. They probably could get someone from one of the other teams that's going down. If Everton have a fire sale, not that I think Everton are going to go down, but if Leeds have a fire, you know what I'm saying? There are some players in there that you could pick up for pretty decent prices. Now, let's just for a second address what happened in the playoff final, right? The playoff final is probably one of the best days of the season. It is one of those where if it finishes well, which generally it does, it leaves you a little bit hungry for the rest of what's going on in the Premier League, and then obviously for the start of next season, because you know the build-up for that. What happened to Tom was not nice. I didn't really like the fact that Sky would go around just asking about him, but at the same time, wishing him all the best and those kind of things is exactly what you want to do. His father has since come out with an update saying that he was watching, I think from the hospital or at least a medical facility near the stadium. So with all of that, I think there's, obviously it's great to see him, able to watch the game. I know the collapse was really shocking for a lot of people, probably really difficult for a lot of teammates to play on. But at the same time, they did, and there can now be this story of they did it for him. Even though the manager said, I can't celebrate until I know how he is. And I think a lot of people will relate to that. There are bigger things in the world than just football, but at the same time, it's kind of good for him. Like, it's a really fantastic result for him that he helped his team get to the league, started that, and, they're at the pinnacle of English football now. Now, I get it, like the Championship is an incredible league and it is exhausting, but we do need to, I credit to the medical staff. We need to look into playing, and just finding the best way to keep players fit, find the best way to keep players guarded against these kind of things. And maybe you can't do that. Maybe it's very difficult to track these kind of things. Maybe some of these things are complete freak accidents, and the fact that there are 6 billion people in the world mean that these freak accidents are going to happen at some point in front of a set of cameras, especially with the people that are pushing their bodies to the very limits, right? But again, all the best to him. And I think anyone who's speculating after this just kind of needs to settle down a little bit. You know, there's probably some conversation to be had, but not this. On top of that, Mpanzu, that is a story, right? A guy who went out of the Premier League, very top tier, goes down, comes back up every league. And I mean, comes up every incredible story, right? And basically is living a movie. Like, even I know there are plenty of cliches about him, but he is living a movie. This guy is living basically what most people painted Jamie Vardy as. I'm sure he could be billed as the next Jamie Vardy, probably a slightly nice character, but billed as the next Jamie Vardy. There are plenty of brilliant fairy tale stories in this Luton side. There are plenty of people who seem like stand-up guys that people should be happy for. And it's really great to see Luton. I mean, it's great to see Luton, or any side that is, you know, traditionally not one of the big sides in English football, especially if you go to Kenilworth Road, especially if you go to the fact that, you know, it's a London satellite town that, you know, is very difficult to get to in the first place unless you fly into Stansted. But, you know, you get my point here. There is something going on. And within English football, we still need these stories, especially considering that, you know, last day of the season in the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich just crushed Dortmund, although Dortmund sort of let it slip. You know, Bayern Munich, again, just imposing themselves, win late, overtake Dortmund, who struggled to a draw against Mainz. It's gutting. And again, some of the, you know, it's not easy to manage a side like Luton. This astronomical rise doesn't necessarily mean that it will continue, but it is a show that they are doing something correctly here. Now, obviously, there is a level of spend there. There's a level of infrastructure that they've imposed. And I think it still is testament, considering the amount of amount of money that's sloshing around in the game of football, to how well you can run a team. You know, Man City obviously won the league this season in the Premier League. I think a lot of people are struggling to kind of pin it on them just spending money at this point. Pep Guardiola is a particularly brilliant guy and a particularly brilliant manager. And there are a lot of questions around some things that Man City do, but overall, it's not just the cash, although cash has a huge influence on it. So similar with Luton here, it's like you can't just, you know, just buy things. You can to an extent, but you actually have to get that momentum. You actually have to get things moving at some point. So I'm interested to know what Luton fans think. Do you think you survive in the Premier League? Do you think you do invest enough to stay in the England's top tier? And do you think that, especially considering that, you know, the Championship is still quite a moneyed league in the first place, it's all that bad to come up and have one season there and go back down? Luton don't strike me as a yo-yo team. And it strikes me as a particularly difficult league to now go down in and come back up in, just because of the diversity in the league. I mean, look at the teams that came up this season. Burnley obviously went down, came back up. Sheffield United have gone down very recently, now coming back up. And it was actually weirdly the top three in the league this season, even though it was like 80 points to 75 between third and fourth. You know, there is something to be said here for the fact that it was the top three. There is, I mean, I'd be interested to know where that happens. Like, obviously, Luton last season finished sixth, still got into the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. But there is something, you know, the 1, 2, 3 coming up and the bottom three, there's some sort of playoff to be had here. There's something to change. Is it that the guys who finish, is there a way of hanging on to the Premier League? If you're like a Leicester or an Everton at that point in the season and you play Luton, is the momentum against you? Is it really worth playing at that point? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? People sort of playing for their careers on the line, it feels a little bit more like. Anyway, the Championship playoff is probably one of the best days of the season. Do you really want to get rid of that? Probably not. Do you want to sour it by bringing in a Premier League, you know, huge Premier League money? Probably not. It's probably best off the way it is. But let me know in the comments below. How are you feeling about Luton? How are you feeling about Burnley? Because Burnley are an exceptional side, and obviously the long-term future of Vincent Kompany. And then how are you feeling about the last day of the season? Let me know in the comments below. I'm trying to make this video a little bit shorter, so I'm going to finish before 10 minutes. I love you guys. I will be making more videos. They're not going to be like this, though. Things are changing around here, all right? And I'm just getting my head around it. I really appreciate you. Thanks. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, and I'll chat to you in a while. I look forward to seeing the Premier League next season, Luton. I will be coming to watch you play. Much love. Bye.